All right, say it again.
Watch the last one at the bar.
Right.
Y'all subscribe to the Last Ones at the Bar boxing channel, man. We got some boxing fans out there.
Hola, soy Jolie de Medellín y estás viendo Las 4 de Bar, el mejor canal de boxeo. Dale me gusta y suscríbete. Y me puedes encontrar en Instagram como Jolie1026 Sánchez. Bye.
Last Ones at the Bar. Exclusively talks about the sport of boxing.
So indeed, welcome back to another episode of Last Ones at the Bar, baddest boxing podcast out. My name is Wilton Henry, and I'm joined by my boy Lavelle Jackson. Lavelle comes from a middle-class family, and he's looking forward to the next 4 years of having an opportunity. Bill, how you doing today? How you doing today, sir?
I'm all right, man. It was a rough week, you know. Had some things happen in my home where I had to clean up a little bit. You know, there was a minor flood that happened in my bathroom, so just been cleaning that stuff up and getting things right, man. But other than that, I have my health. I'm always blessed, man. So I'm here.
Well, you know, the great KRS-One had a song about 15 years ago, and the title of it was "All He Needs Is His Health, His Wealth, and His Knowledge of Self." You know. And those are three things that we all, you know, aspire to have, you know, in abundance. You understand what I'm saying? So I'm glad that you were able to take care of the little mess that you had going on, you know, in your home. Did it cost much, you know, to get things situated?
Well, the most important thing was cleaning everything up. So I don't know how much the damage actually is. It looks minor, but still, you never know, those things can go bad. So it definitely needs to be inspected.
Yeah, and like Kamala Harris said, man, you better thank a union worker, you know. But anyway, let's go ahead and keep moving, man. Hit the like and subscribe button, you know, as you come on in. Yeah, that's some old stuff. Again, fellas, you come through, make sure that you watch the language. That's all. I'm going to leave it at that. The topic of the day, you know what I'm saying? We're going to mosey through this episode, but I do want to hit a couple points. Some of them I've been making, you know, recently, but I'm going to go through this relatively quickly. So this part of the episode is the unpopular opinions of the day. You understand what I'm saying? And the three the hard way. First and foremost, I'm going to do this in less than a minute. Caitlin Clark, overrated. You understand what I'm saying? Like, they just go way too far with it. Anytime that you try to criticize the young lady, you get bombarded with vitriol. It's like you're a bad person, you're a hater, and all this type of stuff. Why can't, if everything was fair, if you legitimately had something to criticize or to share out about a player that they need to improve upon, that shouldn't be hate. That's just, you know, objectively looking at things. Not saying she's a bad player or anything like that, but for some reason you have to use kid gloves with that young lady. It's unfortunate. We should be able to have dialogue and conversations and be able to have our opinion without being, you know, hated upon ourselves. Another unpopular opinion is, out of the four candidates that you have running for president and vice president, your best choice is J.D. Vance. J.D. Vance is the best politician that you have running for office. That may be an unpopular opinion, especially for, you know, black voters. You know, they're unwilling to admit that, you know. Last but not least, the Democrats, especially the CNN, which we like to call the Crying Negro Network. You understand what I'm saying? I would just suggest that before you lend your support, because if you look at the voting block of blacks, ever since the Great Depression, 1933-ish, we have lended our support to the Democratic Party. The unpopular opinion that I have is that you shouldn't just blindly give your support to anyone unless they're showing support to you in some capacity. Those are my three the hard way this week. And then we're going to go ahead and keep it moving. Also, the donations, you see the Cashapp, $ Mtownwilhen. That's also anybody that you see who frequents the episodes. I'm just going to throw a name out there. You got my main man, Shelton. We also have Marky Dan. So, for instance, if you want to see Marky Dan, off the show for 2 weeks, send me $50.
What?
And we'll have to sit Marky down. That's all.
Oh, man. These are opinions of Wilton, Mr. Wilton Henry, Mr. Henry.
Yeah, right now they are.
And one day he might, he may campaign one day. I'll vote for him.
Also, if you like the shirt, you see Dada, showing some support. You see Niche right there showing some support. Also enjoying the vibes with those good last ones at the bar shirts. Then you can just go ahead and call that number that you see right here, the 1-800 number, or just reach out. Somehow, some way we'll make it happen. All right, let's go ahead and get off into the topics of the day, Lavelle. So you want to recap the fight that took place on Friday. I'm going to turn it over to you so you can share out what it is, who was fighting, and then also what you saw.
Okay, so we had Hanabek Limkanelli. I know I always mispronounce his name. Could never get it right. So he took on Andre Milkolovich. So this was, I think it was scheduled for 12 rounds. Hanabek stopped Andre in I think it was 9 rounds, 9 or 10 rounds. It was pretty much a beatdown, and it showed me why Hanabek is kind of, to me, he's overrated. And in some ways, he's actually underrated, and I'm gonna explain myself. So we looking at this fight, he's taking on this unstellar competition, very, very unstellar. Andre, the way he was fighting, it's like he's just not on that level to beat a Hanabek. Hanabek was beating him with just simple 1-2s and really could have gotten him out of there. I think it was the second round. We had him really, really hurt, and the ref the ref didn't wave it off. And it just kept happening. It was just Hanabek was throwing that same, southpaw 1-2, and it seemed like Andre just wasn't prepared or just didn't have the ability to really do anything with Hanabek. So I also say Hanabek is kind of underrated because when you look at the reason why he's overrated, it makes you miss like some of the things that he does. Okay, he's not just garbage, but sometimes he just looks so beatable. And the way they was marketing him, they marketing him as being like the next Triple G. And I just don't see it. He doesn't have that particular power. The only reason he was hurting Andre is because Andre just didn't have, the defense or the talent to keep up with him. But the story is going to be told with Hanabek once he get in there with a top opposition. When he get in there and even there with the Laras, the Adamas, then you'll see what really what he's made of. Is he really that deal? And I mean by that deal just meaning top level. I don't mean another Triple G because I just don't see that. But it was a very, very one-sided fight. Even though Andre was able to get off some shots off on Hanabek, it just wasn't. He didn't have the firepower to really do anything. Come
on, man. Let me jump in real quick. Bill is providing the Kamala word salad edition of this episode here.
Hey, this is a boxing show. We not a politics show.
So you can tell who he's lending the support to. Let me say this. Janabek, this is another, and I don't want to use any derogatory terms towards a fighter. So I'm gonna stay away from the very derogatory terms. But he's fighting a novice, a dude who only had 9 amateur fights. Then he turned pro, and you can see the lack of skill. He's just running in there. The best success that he had was he was kind of smothering Janabek. But outside of that, dude, you can't keep fighting these type of dudes and expect to wow people. Like, come on, man. You got to get in there and fight somebody notable. It's not much there at 160, but you can find somebody way better than this. And I'm sick and tired of the Janabeks, and I'm appreciative of the outlets. Nobody covered this. It was hard to find an image of the fight because nobody cared about this. That was pathetic, man. You don't put that type of fight on TV. They could have kept that one. And then for him to be complaining about getting paid, dude, fight somebody, then you get paid.
Well. To his credit. No. To his point, he got a point though, because the reason why guys on top fight little guys is to get paid. Like, why is Tank fighting Lamont Roach?
Who is Janabek? Janabek ain't no Tank. Who was at that fight? You can't compare him. That's not even the same thing. People go to see Tank. People want to see Tank. People love Tank. You go to the gym, people talking about Tank. And Tank do this, Tank do that. Tank is great. He's the best. Ain't nobody talking about this dude. So how you gonna sit up there and keep fighting low-level opposition, but then you're gonna complain about the money? No, you got to go out there and make a name for yourself, however it is that you do it. Caitlin Clark, another player can't make the same claims and be upset about certain things as Caitlin Clark, although I think she's overrated. But at the same time, she does have leverage because of the fact that she demands so much attention. This dude can't do that, man. It's levels to this. The tavern, man. Okay, man, you on the tavern, let me know where you at, and we can go ahead and get it popping. He said, Sheldon, you funny. Caitlin is the might have to get you up out of here, sir. Sheldon says, tavern, Caitlin Clark is there. You go. Talk that talk, Sheldon. You over there, you talking that real stuff, man. We got to get you on here really quickly. Got my main man. And mind you, folks, I took that old man nap, so I'm a little bit edgy right now. You understand what I'm saying? I got my energy up at a high level. In this corner podcast, we got my boy Ty. He says, I know you're probably going to get to it, but what's your thoughts on Tank versus? Oh, he said
we don't talk about it. We don't talk about it.
We're gonna talk about it, but there ain't even nothing to be talking about. Just like the tavern says right here, that's a cherry pick. Man, that's a cherry pick with cheese on top. That's a cherry pick with extra lettuce, everything, man. Come on, man. He wants us to pay pay-per-view, but we'll get to that. Also, yeah, the tavern says that's true. And then so Ty, they going back and forth. I think it's a stay busy. Like, how many stay busy fights you gonna have? Like, that's all he have is stay busy fights. Come on, stop giving these dudes excuses, man. Please stop. Demand better. Demand better of your politicians. Don't have some dude up there talking about he was at Tiananmen Square, find out he was in Minnesota, and then sitting up here. Dude, if you were in Tiananmen Square, you know that you was there that particular day. That's like me saying, man, I was at 9/11 on 9/11. Come to find out I was August 11th. That's two separate things, sir. Come on, man. Let's stop playing.
Man, what coffee you been drinking, man? I need something.
Man, I'm hyped right now. Janabek, unimpressive performance. He's always unimpressive when you're fighting that level of opposition, man. You can't be up here. All right, so funny. All right, you watch. All right, so let me go ahead and get my boy on here. Go ahead, keep this energy going. What's going on, Sheldon?
What's happening, fellas? How y'all doing today?
Good,
I'm
sir.
I'm a little hyped myself because it was an excellent day of college football yesterday.
Oh, yeah, we'll talk about that later, sir. Yeah, we'll worry about that later. We're talking about this Janabek dude over here fighting these low-level opposition.
Come on, man. Janabek beat the brakes off that dude. That dude was no competition for Janabek. He beat that man silly. They should have stopped that in the 6th round.
Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah,
that's great. But okay, you just put him in there with a cab driver. He should do that.
He should.
It's supposedly exactly. I mean, he has nobody to fight. He needs to. What Janabek needs to do. What Janabek needs to do, Vel. What Janabek needs to do is start unifying them belts. That's the only people he got to fight. There's nobody at 160 that can compete with this guy except for the top guys. He needs to fight all of the top guys, unify the division, and then move on. That's what he needs to do.
This dude is 15, 16 and all with. He don't even really be hitting hard like that. This dude, he should have got him out of there a long time ago. I can see if he's sitting these dudes down. I'm saying if you fighting that level of opposition, dude is wide open. You can't miss. You got to get that dude up out. You got to make a statement. He didn't do that. And so I still
he dropped the dude 3 times. I mean, he dropped the dude 3 times. I mean, he beat the dude half silly. The dude is probably damaged for life after that beat me too.
He did.
He could be damaged for life, but he really could have did that. He was still in there fighting, man. Yeah, I can't get these dudes. Like I'm sick of this nonsense. Like I'm not like as far as just supporting people continuing to fight dudes that they're not supposed to be that it's not supposed to be in a ring with them. I can't support that type of stuff. And I'm glad I didn't watch it. I just saw the little highlights or whatever, and I wanted my 5 minutes back. I'm mad as I don't know. I'm sitting up here watching this nonsense. But anyway, let me go ahead and go to the next part right here. And again, salute to all of the networks who didn't cover that. Like they weren't sitting up here trying to talk about no dang on Janabek. And I'm not gonna say anything. Next time he have a fight and he fighting somebody like that, Bill, if you want to predict that, you can predict it. I'm not messing with this dude anymore. Shame on them. Yeah, that's your boy right there. But the big fight next week, this is the one right here, man. Let's go ahead and get it in. You got Artur Beterbiev. You got Dmitry Bivol. This for all of the marbles. You got Beterbiev, who has 3 of the belts. You got Bivol, who has the WBA strap. They're about to get it popping, man. What do you think is going to happen in this one?
Man, so it's finally here. It's finally happening. Hopefully, Beterbiev doesn't get injured in a week. You know what I'm saying? Hopefully, Bivol doesn't get, too scared and drop out, which I don't think is going to happen. But this is a great fight. It matches up well. And I went back and forth on this fight in my percentages of who I thought were going to win over the last few years. So you have Beterbiev. I think he's 20-0, just all knockouts. Stopped everyone he'd been in the ring with. Just a powerhouse, power in both hands. Put the hurting on people, man. I mean, he's probably one of the top 3 or 4 punchers in boxing right now. Stopped everyone he's been in the ring with. Can hurt just about anybody. But there's one thing about him that's kind of underrated is that he has a lot of boxing acumen. He does set up his shots. He does timing. He has great timing where he gets in there. People say his feet are slow, but he's always in position. His feet is always under him, so he does a great job of that. So he's taking on Dmitry Bivol, a guy, master boxer, gets a lot of credit for being a boxer. The underrated part of Bivol's game is I think he's tougher than people perceive him to be, and I also think that even though he's not just getting guys out of there easily, he does got some snap. You didn't see Canelo just walking in on him. There's a time where Canelo was kind of like, oh, this dude
60 pounder
can hit. Yeah, that's true. But even it was fights before that where guys tried to really step to him, and he gave him a shot to let him know, hey, look, this ain't no little pity pat. So plus how these guys match up, I think it's going to be a very, very exciting fight. I think it's going to be some surprise in this fight. And one thing that I do think is going to happen, which pretty much speak to how this fight is going to play out. I think that the Beterbiev injury, I think those injuries, they're beginning to pile up. And to be honest, even if Beterbiev has healed to about 80-90%, I think the effects of the injury and the fact that he spent so much time on the show and the fact that he's about 40, I think that's going to play against him. And even that version of him is going to give a crazy performance where I think it's going to be a great performance. But I see Bivol surprising everybody and winning a close decision over Artur Beterbiev.
How is that a surprise when he's pretty much the favorite? All experts are picking Bivol. I'm going to go ahead and we keep the energy. Sheldon, don't be mad at me, good brother. We got a special guest, here, Round One Sports Talk.
Gentlemen.
How you doing?
How you guys doing today? Well, just sitting back, hearing the wise words from people that know about boxing, and I like to just chime in and shed light on a different perspective on what you guys are talking about. Meaning, when we're talking about the best fighting the best, and Gervonta Tank Davis being criticized for fighting Lamont Roach, I just want to inform the public at some of the things that go behind the scenes. Meaning, when you want to build these fights, the difference between boxing and other sports, boxing doesn't run on a schedule. The problem with boxing is it's 2 men. And when you give both men the option to say no and walk away, that's what makes it almost impossible to get these fights together. So when we're lashing out at our favorite fighter, why didn't he fight this guy? Loma Hart wasn't into it. Zepeda wanted to have a baby. I can't make these guys get in the ring. So they go down the list. You offer this guy, the next guy. And here we are with Lamont Roach. Another thing about Tank Davis, he was highly criticized for not fighting other Black American fighters. Here he goes, keeping it. And they don't like the fight. I don't understand. Every move he makes, it's like more criticism, but he can't make these guys say yes. He can't force them. That's like when Jaron Boots Ennis and Brian Norman Jr. went into negotiation. No champ can really be considered a duck. Why? No champ has an obligation to another champion.
Can I stop you, sir? I don't want to. This is getting to me ridiculous, sir. With Tank Davis, this is getting way too ridiculous. You look at Tank Davis. I'm telling you, sir, if you don't mind, if you look at Tank Davis's resume, for one, he has a catch weight against Ryan Garcia. He has a catch weight with Mario Barrios. So he fought guys who were bigger. So a catch weight with them. He could have fought. Who was the reigning Josh Taylor? He could have fought Josh Taylor, but he chose to fight Mario Barrios. Why would you do that if you are really supposed to be the best? And Josh Taylor was calling him out. Regis Prograis was calling him out. So why would you take that fight? You didn't. You took the low-hanging fruit, Mario Barrios. You brought Ryan Garcia. Let's fight at a catch weight. All of these type of things. So then when I'm looking at the resume, Devin Haney was calling him out for like 5 years, but then he was saying, let's let the fight marinate. Then once he moved to 140, no, he's too big. But you already fought at 140. So that's the nonsense that I'm talking about. You can't, like, if you was a stand-up dude and you really was seeking out opposition and people would duck you, then I can understand it. And you will get full credit for me and being like, nah, these dudes don't want to fight. Go ahead and handle your business. But he's not doing that, sir. He's making a money out of it.
There's more to it that you're not adding. Also, the people that he was signed to, the PBC doesn't like working with anybody, and they do majorly in-house fights. It's not all on Tank Davis's shoulders. All these other fights, these networks didn't want to work with these other guys.
Sir, how about, and I'm sorry, fellas, and normally we don't curse on this show, but how about we get you the hell up out of here, sir? All right, so let's get back
disrespected. Hey, shout out to my man, whatever his name.
Man, whatever, man. So, what do you got on this fight, man? So we stay focused.
He's free to have an opinion.
And I'm tired of the nonsense, man. Like you making up stuff. Don't do that, man. We can't keep doing that and then expecting the game to change. If we keep making excuses for dudes with ducking other guys and fighting limited opposition just to go ahead and get another payday and, buffer up my resume with these nondescript opponents, I can't sit up here. And I don't hear it. Now, if you want to, I'll just go ahead and let y'all go ahead and talk that nonsense. But I don't like to talk no ignorance, man. Like, if we're going to talk some real stuff, we're going to keep it real. That's what I'm saying. But, sir, please don't even come up here anymore, please.
All right, here we go. Here we go, man. Look, contrary to popular belief, man, Dmitry Bivol can fight. And Dmitry Bivol is not sauce. He's going to fight. He's not going to run. He's going to dip in and out. He's going to box, punch. He's a good, one of the best light heavyweights in the world. But the problem is, you going up against a guy who has good feet, who can't box, and his power is next level. I don't think Dmitry Bivol, Beterbiev is this type of guy. If you can't keep Beterbiev off of you, you're going to get knocked out. I do not believe that Dmitry Bivol, with all the skills he has, punches hard enough to keep that guy off of him. I got Beterbiev by 10th or 11th round stoppage.
That's what's up. Okay, Scotty, what's going on with Great Scots? He says, good listen. Thank you, everyone involved in the discussion. Shout out to my fellow listeners. Absolutely. And then in his corner, my main man Legend says, salute, Scotty. As always, it's an honor and pleasure for you to go ahead and be listening. So out here in Riyadh, let me go ahead and go over the numbers, fellas. You got, let me see. Where's my information? I hate to be running slow on here. And I apologize. And I don't mean to be that way, but I can't take not today. Not after that main nap. You know what I'm saying? Got that old man.
Happy, man. You got a good nap in, man.
There you go. You want to hear some real deal. So speaking of what you saying, Vil, but as far as the age, you got the 39-year-old fella here, Artur Beterbiev, only fighter left that's undefeated with all knockouts, especially as a champion. And so he fights out of Montreal by way of Russia. I think that Beterbiev has the way superior resume and fought way more dangerous fighters than Bivol has. We factor in Callum Smith, Yard, and then you had the Gazdik fight. Like, that was the one. And so Bivol, he is 23-0 with 12 knockouts, 33 years of age. He also is from Russia, 6 feet, a little bit taller, and a little bit longer. All right. So his resume, he had the first knockout in a really long time in his last fight that he had because of the injury that occurred to Beterbiev. And you see some of the other fighters that he's faced. The ones that stick out to me is the Canelo fight and then also the Zerto fight. Now, when it comes to this fight, obviously these fellas gonna be fighting for supremacy. You know, I told you earlier about the belts that each guy holds, and like you said, Vil, the key to me, I felt the way you felt, Sheldon, as far as the fight playing out that way, where I thought that Beterbiev would get the better of Bivol because of that power and that he kind of wears you down. Matter of fact, let me just break down what both guys bring to the table. And also factor in this. I don't know if you guys know that Bivol just went through a divorce and his wife was doing some extra stuff on social media recently. So hopefully his mind is totally focused in. It appears to be when you listen to interviews, but that's something to factor in as well. In this fight, most people think that if it's a knockout, it's going to be Beterbiev. And then if it's a decision, then it's going to be Bivol. I personally wouldn't be surprised. Nothing would surprise me in this fight, you know. And usually in fights like this, when you have a power puncher versus a supreme boxer, typically I lean towards the boxer. Now, Bivol is extremely skilled, you know, with superb defense, technically sound, fluid offensively, has a really high ring IQ, and he's a master at dictating pace. Where Beterbiev, on the other hand, he's not just a power puncher like people think. He's just not just this big brute that comes inside the ring. You know, dude has some skills. He's clever and methodical in his approach. He's very structured and workmanlike, you know, when he comes to setting up his power shots. And then ultimately he systemically breaks down his opponent physically and mentally. Here's the thing, though, and I'm leaning towards what you said, Vil, as far as those injuries, that inactivity. I think that that's going to play a factor in this one. And I see Bivol being able to do just enough where he's fighting, because he can fight very well off the back foot. And, you know, he kind of stops once he stops, he'll stop it and put his opponent in a place. And then he's just a machine inside the ring. So I'm more skeptical about Beterbiev after coming off the knee injury and what that's going to do with him and his balance. So I'm going to go Bivol 12 round, and I would say a unanimous decision. All right. So we got somebody else. We got Tough Glove Boxing. What's going on, Tough Glove?
What's good with you, family? I was just over here working, and I was listening to some good boxing talk. I thought I'd come in and give my little 2 cents on the Bivol off the Beterbiev situation, if you don't mind.
Yes, sir. Talk to us. Talk to us, King.
Now, first of all, salute to everybody in the building. You know what I'm saying? Respects.
Respect.
Word. Now,
young brother, salute. Let's hear your take.
Now, as far as the fight between Beterbiev and Bivol, I have a lot of respect for both of them, and it's really a pick'em fight for two different reasons. It's your classic fight, boxer puncher versus, you know, bull versus matador type of style. But I got Bivol winning, and the reason why I got Bivol winning, and I don't think it's going to be as hard as people think, and let me explain why. Number one, Artur Beterbiev's age. You can't use that 100%, but that does play a factor. He's going up against a much younger fighter, and Bivol has elite level conditioning. He does not get tired. He does not get thrown out of his game plan. He has a poker face the whole way, and he's focused 100%. He's a very hard fighter. If I had to argue about fighters being led into traps, he's one of the hardest fighters that you can lead into a trap, because he doesn't adjust his game plan to fight somebody else's game plan. Even when he makes an adjustment, it's to benefit his style of fighting. So I don't see him ever getting pinned down by Beterbiev. Now, Beterbiev is more than power by far. Okay, number one, Beterbiev is his ability to set up the punch is like Tank Davis, right? He knows he got the power, so it's not so much that he's relying on the power. His whole thing is that he's very economical, and he's gonna wait for the right moment to set up the punch that he knows is gonna knock you out. Now, it's no secret that he's definitely stronger than Bivol. Now, what other people are sleeping on is that Bivol can hurt Beterbiev as well. Bivol has power. You just don't really see it. Like you saw it in the Zerto fight, but you don't really see it. When he want to step to somebody and step on the gas, he'll do that. But his style of fighting is fleet-footed, so it doesn't allow him to really sit down on his punches. And the main reason why I picked him to win, and then I'm going to wrap it up, is because of the not sparring, but the matchup that Artur Beterbiev had against Usyk. Now, both of them have gotten better since then, but both of them still had the same style pretty much. And Usyk easily outboxed Beterbiev because of the footwork and the jab. Kept resetting Beterbiev, and Beterbiev gets frustrated. And that's all I got, fellas.
I appreciate your take. You know, anytime you want to stop through, you know, you're more than welcome.
Oh, for sure.
Appreciate you, brother. All right, I'm gonna read some of these chats, and I see say, oh, Tyson Broom, man, if you want to come through and share what you have to say, I'm gonna address something real quick when it comes to round one sports. Round one sports, I didn't want to be disrespectful, you know, and I didn't want to turn this into an argument. I don't argue with people, but what I will not do is keep listening to people who are making excuses for one of the top cash cows in boxing. If you look at what people are saying, we've been saying this a long time. Again, Val, am I lying when I said that when they picked Rolly Romero, I text you guys. I said, you know who they're gonna fight next? They're gonna fight Rolly Romero. He was 14-0 with 12 knockouts.
That is that
looking horrible in some of his fights. And you can tell it's like a mile away. But a lot of times I would give you that point if you were making an accurate assessment over a guy who doesn't have a track record of keep doing the same thing. We looked at the other day, didn't we, or did we not look? And we saw, it was like, who is he going to fight at 130? Because he's not going to fight this person. We kind of predicted what he was going to do. So come on, man, we can't sit up here and keep making excuses for people who are doing that sort of thing, or our sport will never get better.
Yeah, I thought Jose Valenzuela. I thought he was going to fight Jose Valenzuela.
He tried to, but then Jose Valenzuela was not going to come back down. He's the 140-pound champion. And so that's what I'm saying. So, you know, no disrespect or anything like that, sir. I know that you probably upset, you know, and you know, I mean, it is what it is, sir. All right, so we got my boy Legend, man. We talking like that good old Beterbiev conversation, sir. What's your thoughts? Who do you like in this one?
Salute to everybody, man.
Salute to you, Legend. Yep.
Yeah, this is a tricky one for me, man. This is probably one of the best fights we had in a long time. I like the underdog story, and I think that Beterbiev, he has more against him in his fight. You know, he's older. As you mentioned, he's had the injuries, he's had the long layoffs. So I like an underdog story, but Bivol is the guy, you know, he comes at you nonstop. We seen what he did to Canelo. So me, I'm gonna go with Beterbiev by late stoppage. I just think that I think Bivol's gonna do good, like he's gonna do very good the whole fight. But I just think, you know, we don't know how he's gonna react once he really gets touched. You know,
who's that?
Once he gets Bivol. If he gets touched, you know, how do you react when you get hit with a shot you never been hit with before? Are you gonna stay composed? You know, are you gonna that's the question that I have. So like I said, I just believe that Beterbiev, he has more against him in this fight, and I like an underdog story. So I'm just gonna go with Beterbiev in this fight by late stoppage. But do I think that Bivol does not have a chance? Absolutely not. I believe Bivol can win this fight 100%, but I'm just going to go with Beterbiev by late stoppage. I'll say like 11 from 12th round.
So you're just going based on the sentimental value. You're not looking at this from like, if take out the sentimental stuff, Ty. Like, who do you think? Like, who do you think? Who would you favor?
Probably, yeah, Bivol for sure. Yeah.
Okay. A lot of good talk over there in the chat. I'm gonna go ahead and read the market. I'm trying to get you every time you come through as the fifth person. I can't get you in, good guy. You got to understand a lot of people are tired of listening to the tank protectors. Thank you, Legacy Over Currency, Define Mindset. That been making endless excuses. He ain't fighting the best, and that's all what I'm saying, right? And appreciate that comment. All right, so they got a lot going on in the chat, man. Anything else we got? I want to get Marky Dan's perspective on this as well. I want to see who he thinks is gonna get beat to death. You know, let me see.
Get Marky up in here if he can control his vocabulary.
Oh, there we go. Now I can get Marky up in here. Bam, Marky D, what's going on? You gladiator? You know.
Salute.
You remind me of
everybody on the panel.
Yes, sir. Before you get started, sir, it's one guy, you know. It was this one little lady, man. She was kind of like a street girl, you know. And so my boy, you know, they used to call him the gladiator. He invited her to his house, and he was gladiator. But anyway, go ahead, son. My bad. Do your thing, sir. What do you think as far as my bad, but anyway.
Let's do a good one today, man.
But Marky, what you think about the fight?
Beterbiev versus Bivol. Well, let me first off say, great promotion with this promo that I just saw. That whole Norse Russo Viking theme. Oh my gosh, like it just gave me chills. If you haven't seen the promo, go see it for yourself. It's amazing. But the fight itself, I'm excited. It's a fight we've been waiting for a long time. I got Bivol winning this fight. I think it will be for the most part. This is just my opinion. I think Bivol will be controlling the fight from the outside, and he'll be trying to avoid Beterbiev. Excuse me.
Take your time, sir.
I'm sorry, man. I'm getting over. No, I'm sorry. I'm getting over the flu this past week.
Good, it's all right. Let's keep it moving, though, sir.
Beterbiev. No, but like I said, I think Bivol will control the fight for the most part from the outside, and yeah, there you go. I think he'll win, and I think the big moments are going to be when Beterbiev hurts him. That's when we're going to really see if Bivol can weather those storms.
Right, and it's good that he's fighting him now that he's about 50 years old. But anyway, Scotty 70, man, we want to hear your perspective because you always have a unique perspective on these things before we move to the next one. It's good to go ahead and get a man in the ring when he almost, about to get his AARP on. You understand what I'm saying? But it's all good. We're going to see, Hey.
Yeah, I got to cut you off there. That's not his fault. Beterbiev stayed in the amateurs a long time. Bivol stayed in the amateurs a long time. Age ain't got nothing to do with this. 20 men have stepped up and 20 men have been knocked out. So let's cut the age crap out.
Was the 20 men before this knee injury, or was the 20 men after this knee injury?
It doesn't matter. They got in the ring, they signed a contract, and they got knocked out.
They did. They got put to death. They got beat to death. But check this out, though. I saw Dominique Wilkins before he had his knee injury. He looked totally different after. He had to change his whole game. I've seen athletes who have had knee injuries and they had to alter their games. So that's all I'm saying. So to dismiss that and say that has nothing to do with the outcome of this fight, we don't know. I seen
that's not what I said.
The other day with a big old knee brace on.
I didn't say nothing about the injury. I said the age. You brought up the age. The age ain't got nothing to do with it.
No, it does. You heal differently and quicker when you were younger. Like all of those things play a factor. That's all I'm saying, sir. Everybody has different opinions.
No excuses, brother. Did he sign a contract? Did he agree to fight? He trained for the fight, right? No excuses. You get in there, you win, you lose, you lose. No excuses.
So when Bivol win, give him all the credit.
No, see, listen, man. That's
he's the best light heavyweight of this era.
No excuses. Excuses.
No, why even talk about you? Obviously, that's like saying this, man. I ain't even gonna go down that road, but you can be observant in terms of what you see. Like I think that's okay to do. Not that you're making excuses for a person, but you can visually see if somebody is compromised in some capacity. And that's all I'm saying. So we want to make sure we look at the whole picture. We're not just being subjective, we're being objective. That's all I'm saying. All right, let's go ahead and keep it moving. I was trying to get these other fellas in and let's see what the topics that we're going to be discussing. But let's not talk about this Janovic dude no more, man. Let's get him up out of here. You understand what I'm saying? I'm sitting up here fighting these dudes that's one amateur fight and then got a lot of club fights that he want to go ahead and get in the ring. But anyway, let's go ahead and keep it moving. Now, also, next week, Bill, this fight has been pushed back because of the hurricane that took place. So we're going to bypass the Chris Colbert. I know you want to cook on him, but you want to say some derogatory things towards him. Hopefully the young man is, got a little bit more mature and he's taking the fight game.
Talking about him. I wanted to.
We will talk about him, sir. That's because Vail wanted to. We had this as a topic because that's a fight, especially for Pro Box TV. I like fights like this, guys on the comeback trail and things like that to see where they are.
Yeah. Hold on, Will you say the Colbert fight got pushed back? Hold on, Will you say the Colbert fight got pushed back?
Yeah,
you want to share that with him?
Yeah, it was pushed back a week because of Hurricane Milton.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, because of all the damage in Florida. Okay, yeah. I got you. Okay.
But like Will said, I like fights like this, man. I like fights where I get the opportunity to to see Chris Colbert get beat to death. Oh,
I mean, he might not. He may not.
No,
he may turn a corner. It's just that
No, you
I feel.
Whoa, one person at a time, sir. Please, man, we're gonna have dialogue. Listen, man. That's one thing, though. Please, man, when people talking, give them the opportunity. And the reason why I say that, and I'm even more on that now, is I've been having so many political conversations. When I was at my spot, I shut it down the other day because I'm hearing a whole bunch of people talking about nothing, but they want me to support something that they not telling me anything truthful about. But when I'm sitting up here making the points that I'm making, you just one young lady, she's sitting up there trying to talk over you, so you can't make the points to refute what she said. I'm not gonna sit up here and have these ignorant conversations, ma'am. Either you're gonna listen to what I'm saying, or you need to move around. You understand what I'm saying? And vice versa. If you're trying to make a point on something, then I want to hear everything that you have to say. But if you're on that nonsense, that bull stuff, that word salad type thing, then you might as well talk that stuff to somebody else. But if you don't catch anything what I'm saying right now, let's please have dialogue. One person talks, other person listens, the other person has the opportunity to refute whatever it is the other person has said. Bill, did you have anything else you had to say, sir?
All I'm gonna say is for Chris Colbert, he said, you know how I used to feel about him. He's somebody that I rooted for, and unfortunately things didn't go his way. So I think for a fight like this, mentally he'll be in a better place because he wants to, he definitely wants to win, but I think it'll be his detriment because Chris Colbert's mistake is he's gonna go in there trying to prove something and prove that he's a puncher, that he can do these things, that he can take shots instead of honing his craft. That's my fear. So that's why I think it could still be a bad fight for him. But hopefully he turns that corner, works on his craft, kept his head down, be quiet and stop talking and just work on that craft and improve so he can be something in this game.
Anybody else got anything that they want to share about Chris Colbert? Yeah. If not, will you go ahead?
Well, I was gonna say, I hope he makes the best. He makes the best of this fight. Because like he didn't listen to his corner. When he was stopped by Rayo, so that was a bad KO. I hope he makes the best of this fight. And like I met him earlier this year, and like I don't know if this was after the Rayo fight, if it was before, but like he's got like a bad eye, man. Like he's got like a real weak eye. And
it's like a lazy eye.
Yeah, like it's real bad. Like when I met him, his eyes real lazy. And I don't know if that came after the Rayo fight or what. But like I said, I just hope that he makes the best of this fight. He listens to his corner and not try to be all cocky and do all this on his own. I mean, that's why you got a corner. That's why you got a team. To listen to them as well. And I think that's where his mistake was just not listening to his corner, and like he got stopped brutally. So
yeah, that was the huge mistake. He's hard-headed, and so with that being said, see, when I look at Chris Colbert had really a lot of momentum. I remember Danny was putting me up in Vail. They mentioned Chris Colbert. So he was fighting on Showtime, and I remember the Arboleta fight. Like that was a good fight, but he did something that he wasn't supposed to, but he still was successful. He was like fighting more like as a power puncher, and he was able to get Arboleta out of there in the 11th round. But that what he built there, see, I think that Scooter kind of did that with one of his opponents where he was fighting on the inside where you would thought that he was going to fight on the outside, but he just switched up the game plan, probably because he knew his opponent was training for him to do something else. So it's kind of like a switcherooski on him. I don't think Colbert did that. He's just trying to, think that he can do pretty much everything and not what's in his best interest in terms of the skills that he presents. And so he got a little bit big-headed. And we found out in retrospect, the Rayo's a big dude. You know what I'm saying? And he's heavy-handed, and he found out the hard way. And in addition, he doesn't listen like in any capacity, in the ring, outside the ring. Hopefully that's the thing that I'm banking on for this young man is the fact that he begins to learn from his mistakes and become a little bit more humble, not in the sense of your personality all the way, but be humble in the sense of working on what you need to get better at. And then also being disciplined enough to carry that out in a 12-round fight. So that's what I want to look for in this fight to see if he's learned from his past mistakes. Anything else on Chris Colbert? This dude right here, he be in there banging, I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
No, I ain't got none up.
I'm happy to see Chris Colbert back in the ring. so I could see him get beat up and stopped once again. I hope to see him get beat to death brutally in this fight, just like he did against Ryo. I don't like Chris Colbert after what he had to say about Deontay Wilder. And yeah, that's pretty much it. I just enjoy watching him get beat up.
Yeah, no, I feel you on that. If that's how you feel, that's how you feel. I just like, for me with these young brothers, man, you know, I be wanting to see them, you know, learn and not always just be so egotistical that you can't, like, you think you know it all. You understand what I'm saying? And if you get to the point where, like I said, if you learn from your mistakes and I see it and I can hear it in you, then I can begin to support you once again. Because during that Arboleda fight, I liked him, but like you said, some of the comments that he made, I'm like, he kind of turns you off. You was gonna say something, Legend? Or you good?
No, I'm good. I was just saying I ain't had nothing else.
Oh, okay. All right, what is he now? Prime time or a little beehive? Nah, he little comeback. You understand what I'm saying? He trying to be on the comeback trail. Salute panel and chat. All right, you know, good luck with the Raiders. I don't know who they play, you know, but they're gonna need it. All right, let me go ahead and keep it going on this old Chris Colbert. Boom. We already kind of talked about that, man. You got any official thoughts? Might as well go ahead and hear what you fellas have to say as far as this fight that's going to take place December 14, pay-per-view out there in Houston. I'm going to fall back. I'm not even going to say anything. I think everybody knows my sentiments on this. Right?
Hey, you paying for the fight, Will?
Well,
never mind. So just the whole fact this is on pay-per-view, man, it's just, I don't know, man. It's heartbreaking, man. It's a testament to where boxing is going, where, like I said before, you know, Tank could get paid a lot more money fighting Lamont Roach than he can someone of higher star status where he'll have to split the bill. You know, the only exception was Ryan Garcia, who gave him a high pay rate. You know, so oh, is that the official? Oh, you had an official poster, Will? Had to look at that. But it's unfortunate, man, that this is what it is, and it's hard to believe. I still, since we more than 2 months out, there's still some hope that something's gonna happen where he's gonna end up fighting Jose Valenzuela, a fight that I don't necessarily really want to see. But if history shows us anything, sometimes top fighters, they take fights like this and do a swerve just so you don't criticize the opponent that they originally was gonna pick. So that's why I still think Jose Valenzuela is in there somewhere.
What about this fight? So let me stick to what we.
Well, about Roach, I mean, obviously he fights at 130. Tank is pulling another guy up, you know, a weight class. I wonder if there's a rehydration clause on Tank where he can't weigh more than a certain weight. I bet not, because he's the A side. So it's just another knockout. Lamont Roach, just watching him, he's a decent fighter, but it's nothing that I see that makes me believe that he's ready for this particular level. And of course, his people will be foolish to turn down a fight where he can make, $3-4 million. Of course you're going to take it. But at the same time, I mean, career-wise, I don't see where he's a better opponent than a lot of guys at 135 and even at 140 that he could fight. But shout out to Lamont Roach for getting that opportunity.
Marky Dan, what do you think about this? Or time.
Man, I mean, this isn't the fight that I wanted. Of course, I wanted somebody like Ryo, but they're trying to say that, Ryo didn't want to go down to 135. So that fight was off the shelf. So here we are with Lamont Roach. I mean, the guy's only got like 10 knockouts in all of his fights. So he doesn't got power to hurt Tank. So I see this as easy work for Tank. I see this probably ending like 5th round stoppage or something like that. But only thing I can say is Lamont Roach, he is a champion, but he's a champion coming from 130. So he's not a guy in Tank's weight class. And then also he's got, the victory over Hector Garcia, so they share a common opponent. But other than that, man, I think this is easy work for Tank. I know the fans are displeased, but to me, it's a fight. It's a stay busy fight. But hopefully for 2025, we'll see if Tank steps up and get the bigger fights, or we're gonna see if this routine is going to continue.
I say the latter, sir. I think it's if history proves itself, you know, then that's what we've been seeing throughout his whole career, right? You look at Lamar Rose, no knock against him. It's levels to boxing, man. You know, you got your superstars, you got your titleists, and just you look at his resume, a loss to Jamil Herring. Some people, I never, and shout out to Jamil Herring. I just always thought that he was somebody who was kind of an overachiever. That's what I thought about Jamil Herring. So for him to lose to an overachiever who was kind of at the later stages of his career, and then your signature victory is a Hector Garcia who had just got knocked out by Tank Davis, who was coming back down to 130.
Yeah, I wanted to mention that too. Yeah, like Roach did fight, you know, former champion and you know, Jamel Herring, but he came up short. And like you said, Jamel Herring was on the older side too. So he lost to a guy, you know, that was older. So I mean, it's not the fight we want, but I just say that, you know, Tank brings that knockout power and everybody just want to see him, you know, get those knockouts. So, but yeah, this isn't a fight that nobody wants. But am I going to watch it? Of course. But like I said, I know it's a letdown for the fans. Yeah, this isn't a fight.
My bad. Who, if you had it your way, who would you want to see Tank fight, fellas?
Shakur
I
Stevenson.
would say.
Go ahead.
My bad. I would say, even though he's coming off a loss to him, I would say De Los Santos or Rayo. To me, that seemed like Rayo seemed like the most reasonable opponent. You know, he just beat Pitbull, you know, and he became champion. But not, since he's in a higher weight class, it ain't happening. But I just think that fight to me at this point made more sense. You know, Shakur's out hurt, so I just think that Rayo or even De Los Santos, even though, you know, he's coming off the loss to Shakur, he still got a lot of power. I think those two fights would have made more sense at this point.
Vil, do you have anything, sir?
Yeah, man, of course, Shakur, but he's not healthy. So you're speaking very hypothetically. For me, that's Shakur. But even not, I mean, you have somebody who fought at 140, but all of a sudden you don't want to fight at 140 anymore. It's not your weight class. If he's the star, he's the face of boxing, like they're marketing him as, you know, he shouldn't have a problem, you know, fighting at 140, fighting at, you know, Devin Haney. He should get in the ring with Devin Haney, get in the ring with Teofimo Lopez at 140, because Teofimo Lopez might still be having trouble making 140. That's still a good fight at 140. If he has to pull a 130 fighter up, why would you pull Lamar Roach? Pull somebody that's more experienced at 130. You know, I'm not looking at it the list right now, but I'm pretty sure there's guys even at 130 that's a better option than, you know, than Lamar Roach. I'd rather see him against a Navarrete, you know, said than Lamar Roach. And that's no knock on Roach. It's just that I haven't seen enough of him to say that he's ready for that. Yes,
no, he's not ready for any of this. Listen, man, like we are so removed from boxing being at its glory, especially for certain individuals. When Sweet Pea Whitaker was at 135, he decided to fight the great Azuma Nelson. Azuma Nelson was a Hall of Famer. Azuma Nelson was the reigning 130-pound guy without a doubt. You know, you might have Jeff Finnick and all those guys, but they wasn't ready for Azuma at that time. He was dominant at 130. So it made sense for him to take on the legend of Azuma Nelson. But he wasn't just messing around and picking and choosing some random dude. Now, he may go up in weight, and some others may go up in weight for history. And they say, well, you know what? I want to go ahead and get my 4th title, so I'm going to go ahead and fight this guy. You know, even though he's a big, strong guy at that weight, I'll select him because that's really not my weight class. That's understandable when you do something like, but they're not putting those dudes on a dang on restriction or anything like that. Like this is nutty, man. Like if anybody ever read the book George Orwell's 1984, we are really in that era. We're in that stage. I remember they had like 4 ministries in the book, and all of the ministries was the opposite, like the opposite of what it is that it's supposed to be. It was like contradictory towards it. You know, facts wasn't necessarily reality anymore. And you had, for instance, one of the ministries was the ministry of peace, but that particular ministry always went out looking for war, you know, but that was the ministry of peace. Then you had the ministry of truth, and all they did was put propaganda out there, you know, to the public and skewing their views and things like that. They also had a ministry of plenty, but then they only offered rations to like the masses of the people. That's where we are now, where you got so-called boogeyman. This dude's supposed to be like this big power puncher. How are you pulling up somebody who doesn't even have any power, like to hold you off? Oh God, this is, and again, I forgot the dude's name. I just can't listen to anybody who's promoting this type of stuff, because again, what we're gonna do is we're gonna have like a watered down boxing even more than what it is if we keep allowing this type of stuff to transpire. But that's my take, man. Let me go ahead and keep it moving. So boom, here. Shame on you, Tank. Mosley was in a comeback fight, man. You think Mosley need to call it a day because he's trying to call out Pacquiao? Just really quickly, we can go ahead and go through this real fast. Would you like to see a Shane Mosley and Manny Pacquiao too?
No, because I think even though Pacquiao is shot to pieces, he's probably in better condition than Shane Mosley. There's no knock on Shane Mosley. Is that age is a real thing, and Mosley is kind of era before Pacquiao in a way. Mm-hmm. So I think Mosley is what? He got to be in his 50s, like 54, 53, 53, something in that age range. But I can't say somebody shouldn't make money. So age is a factor here, but Mosley is, and he's the type of guy that stays in shape. So I wouldn't take a Pacquiao fight. A De La Hoya fight, that's more his speed, and that's a fight that is even more marketable because of their rivalry, you know, in their actual fights. And De La Hoya is the one that want to compete, but he's been out of the ring even longer. So that's a better fight for Mosley. But obviously, you know, Jen, and I want to say that is the whole divorce thing went through. I'm pretty sure that did a number. So I ain't gonna hit on the man for getting his life right.
What about you, Ty? You think would you watch it, Ty? Like if him and Manny ran it back?
Nah, of course I want to see that, man. Like Shane Mosley, man, his time is up in the sport. I did see about this, you know, him having this exhibition. I think it was in Philadelphia. I know it was like a celebrity thing. So and then Mosley, he looks bigger. He's you know what I mean, he looks more chunky now. So I mean, this ain't nothing nobody really wants to see. And then I'm hearing that he was slurring his words in the interview. So I mean, Mosley time is up, man. He did his thing in the sport, but nobody wants to see any of this, man. He's already fought Pacquiao. He's already fought De La Hoya. So we've already seen this anyway. But yeah, but what Val said, I agree with that. I know he had a situation where, like, I guess his ex-wife, you know, I know he went through a divorce and his ex-wife, I don't know, she's getting all like the money or whatever. So maybe he just needs a bag, but he just needed, if he wants to keep the bag going, man, just keep taking exhibitions, man. Nobody want to see him and, you know, Pacquiao and De La Hoya, man. That time is up now.
Okay, y'all hating on the man getting him a bag. Okay, that's all right. We in a capitalist society, you know what I'm saying? They get him and Pacquiao back up in there. You know, maybe the bag is worth my brain cells. You understand what I'm saying? I can't tell a man what to do.
You're right. I get you. I get that. But nobody should get seriously hurt for a bag. Nobody should. I don't want to see somebody get seriously hurt for a bag or worse for a bag.
He does. Like he put himself in a situation where I can't stop that, man. I can't stop people from, you know, we need to end all wars then because we got soldiers that's risking their lives. You understand what I'm saying? And putting themselves in danger and things like that. Do I want to see it? Not necessarily. You know, that's like me wanting to see Joe Biden versus Trump. You understand what I'm saying? Like two old dudes up in there. But will something bad happen? Who knows? You know, the society today like to see train wrecks. So it may be interesting to some. But at the skill level, I just like to see boxers when they're in their primes, even when they like slightly out of their primes. It's kind of difficult to see those type of matches, like the Kell Brook versus Amir Khan. It's like, dude, y'all should have been did this right here, you know. So I can just only imagine them in the ring now, how slow, sluggish they're gonna be out there looking like Larry Holmes, flabby and sick. And I don't want to see it, but I'm not gonna knock the man for trying to get that bag after Jen took all of his money, from what it looks like allegedly. All right, so also you got your boy right here. Now he's starting to pull over. He's starting to get his Tank Davis on. So in a new way, looks like he's finalizing a fight with Sam Goodman. I want to say it's going to be in December out there in Japan. What do you think about this defense for Inoue?
Man, we want to see him and MJ. We don't want to see Sam Goodman, you know, whoever or what was he the son of John Goodman or something, man? But now you got a new way, kind of. It's almost two in a row because he got off one with TJ Duhaney. The only silver lining about Sam Goodman is that he is ranked number one in the IBF and the WBO. MJ is ranked number one in the WBA. So that's the only argument you can really make for it. But other than that, if he's not going to if Junto Nakatani is not going to move up, which that was possible, I think Nakatani wouldn't have a problem with him. But also you had guys at 126. Nick Ball called him out, said he wanted to fight with him. Then there's, I think it's somebody else at 126 that wouldn't have an issue fighting Inoue. But the thing with that is, I would rather Inoue fight MJ first because that's really the last big guy you have at 122 before you start moving up here and there. And if not, you got to go after the next big name. And I don't think Sam Goodman is that guy. The only thing is he's ranked number one. That's it.
Yeah, my thoughts on this is like we just spoke on it. This guy doesn't have enough power to hurt. You know, I know it. It's just like Tank and Lamont Roach. This guy only got like 8, 9, 10 KOs in all of his fights. So to me, this is easy work for Inoue. And I just hate the fact that his fights are always on like Tuesdays, Wednesdays, first thing in the morning. But I know he likes to fight in his hometown. And that's just hard to, you know, catch a fight first thing in the morning. You know, most people are still asleep. Most people got to go to work. So, but I think this is easy work for Inoue.
Might be. Only difference to me is that he's fighting someone who's in his weight class. And the only other argument you can make in his weight class would be Ahmadalia, MJ. So to me, that's slightly different. Now, if he's pulling somebody up from bantamweight, bantamweight, and it's not Nakatani, then that's bad. But even for him, he would still be pulling up somebody that's more, I don't know, man. To me, it's an okay fight. This is his last one. Like, you can't keep having a Doheny's and Goodman's, but Goodman is ranked relatively high. So I can stomach that if MJ or somebody better is next. You know. I got you, Monster. All right, so let me go ahead and move and groove.
Okay,
you got that part of it. Also, man, what you think about this? Let's go ahead and pick it up for this. Let's go this last stretch run. So you got Liam Piro. He's going to defend his title against Richardson Hitchens, December 7th. That's the same day that we were bombed, you know, or attacked Pearl Harbor. You know what I mean? Will it be bombs away in this one? What do you think?
Excellent fight to me. You know, a great fight to make. Two guys, you know, on the road, putting it on the line. Hitchison is taking a huge risk here. And I love it, man. I like that. You know, you're taking a fight against somebody. This ain't I'm cashing out against Teofimo Lopez or a high-ranked guy, but this is just the guy who I think is the guy at 140. And Hitchens is saying, hey, look, I want this particular fight. I want this guy. I want to be the man. And you got Perro, you know, coming off his win over Matias. Now he's on the road, and it's like two forces clashing together. I love it. December 7th. There you go.
I'm going to jump in here real quick, legends. Keep this energy going. So Liam Perro, I think he's a good, solid fighter. He stunned Matias in his last one. Kind of took him to school. Matias was just a little bit or a lot overhyped, or he was looking past Liam Powell. That's what it appeared to me, fighting at home in Puerto Rico. This one right here, I'd look at Richardson Hitchens as Chris Colbert 2.0. You know, he's similar in the sense that I think that he thinks that he's better than what he is. He lacks pop in his punches. He's a quick guy. He's one of those guys. And I think that he would be better suited if he would utilize the attributes that he has. And that's what he builds upon that. I think that, again, in his last fight, the same kid that we're going to go see out there in Norfolk, who's fighting Keyshawn Davis, I thought he beat Hitchens. And I didn't think that it was that close because he was landing some power punches on him, and Hitchens didn't have the necessary pop in his. And that, to me, is what carried the day, because those solid punches that he was putting on Hitchens, I thought he was doing that way more often than Hitchens was able to get off on him. I think that's a similar fight. I think Perro is a better professional fighter than Richardson Hitchens. And so I'm leaning towards him. I think that it will probably be like an 8-4, something like that, 9-3 type of victory for Liam Powell. What say you, Ty? What do you think about this one? Are you excited to see this one, coming into fruition?
Yeah, I like the fight, man. I like the fight. Somebody's got to go. Both guys are undefeated. I think, Pyro, he's riding high, off that Matias win. This was a guy that was stopping everybody, but, Pyro got the job done. And Hitchens, man, I'm a fan of Hitchens. Like you said, he just doesn't have that much pop, but he's quick, he's fast. So I think this fight just boiled down to who wants it more, who's able to show that grit, who's able to show that they want it more, you know what I mean? So it's a tough one for me to call, man, but I'll probably go with Pyro probably by decision. But like I said, I think it boils down to who really wants it more.
Anything else on that, Vil?
Yeah, what do you think about the winner? Probably would end up facing Devin Haney. So that's why it's a high stakes fight for both of these guys. They could be an opponent for a big fighter. They could be an opponent for Lopez also. So that's why, to Ty's point, both guys are gonna fight like they want it.
I think just Hitchens. You see, Perro already has the belt. Sometimes they say a guy, once they gets the belt, they're 30% better when they have the belt. I just think that Hitchens wants to be a world champion, and that's what he's going to be fighting for. Let all of the other stuff come afterwards if he's able to beat this guy, who I would assume he's probably going to be an underdog in this fight. So to me, that's where the motivation is coming from, because you can't overlook this. Like, you got to get past this before you can get to anything else that will come your way if you're victorious. But I don't know. Because we got some information here. Like, for instance, we're talking about Devin Haney. I'm going to play a short little excerpt. And those listeners who are, don't like profanity, I want you to go ahead and turn your volume down at this point. But I'm going to play a little information that Bernard Hopkins says. He rips Devin Haney about the lawsuit. I want to get you fellas' thoughts. Do you agree with Bernard Hopkins? So please listen to this right and tell. Can you hear this?
No, actually, we can't hear it.
No, I can't either.
You can't hear him? Okay. Let me make sure the volume. Well, how about I do this? I'm going to put it here. Yeah, he has some choice words for Devin as far as the lawsuit that he has against Ryan Garcia. All right, so here it is. So let me, hopefully you can hear this.
Experience my time or the time before mine. They got to be like the Hagler and the Leonards. Where the fighter got his ass kicked. The suit. I mean, again, people going to get mad at me, even though I said that he cheated. I never seen, I mean, I say what I said again, so everybody won't get confused. I thought I never, and said it this way, I thought I would never see a fighter literally gets his ass kicked and turn around and sue months later. I mean, this got to be, I mean, I hope it ain't the generation. I respect this generation to a point, but I hope we ain't getting into this generation and going forward where this becomes contagious. I think it's.
I'm gonna stop right there. What are you guys' thoughts on his choice words for Devin Haney, who's suing Ryan Garcia for the damages that was caused during their April 20th fight, which Ryan Garcia tested positive for a performance enhancing drug? Do you agree with Bernard?
No, I actually disagree, because what Bernard didn't say is the reason why, Ryan Garcia is being sued. And really, for someone to cheat, and this is not like I made a mistake. This is blatant cheating. I think is wrong, and I think Devin Haney has the right to sue Ryan Garcia. Now, I will say at Bernard Hopkins, he's a legend. He has a right to his opinion, and also I don't know if he's still with Golden Boy. He's a promoter, probably of Ryan Garcia, and in the context, most promoters is going to take up for their fighter. Oscar De La Hoya. Well, Oscar De La Hoya is a weird case. He might defend Ryan also at one point. I'm pretty sure if something happened where they found out that Tank cheated or something like that, there's no way that Leonard Ellerbe wouldn't protect Tank or take up for him. So I understand his position. I just disagree with it.
What you think, Todd?
Yeah, as far as me, like, this was just my opinion. Like, I thought that Devin Haney, I know all guys can disagree with me, but it's good to hear everybody's perspective. I just thought that maybe Haney should let it go, because when it's all said and done, Ryan Garcia, he did get suspended, he did get fined, but to some people, that's not enough. He should have got a bigger fine. He should have got, a longer suspension. But to me, I just felt like Haney should let it go. I mean, you got your record. It's not a loss now. It's changed to a no contest, and he can run it back. When Ryan Garcia's suspension is up, he said, what? I want to get back in there and I'm gonna run it back. I'm gonna beat the brakes off this guy. But now he's suing. So I mean, I don't know, man. But that's just my take. I just feel like he should have let it go. But I understand where everybody's coming from if they disagree with that. Because he could have been killed. He could have been seriously hurt. He could have been put in a coma. He could have been slurring his words, not be the same after this fight. So I understand. And like I've been saying, a lot of guys been getting away with these PD stuff for the longest time. They're getting slaps on the wrist. So maybe if he wins this, this lawsuit, this would make all the fighters say, what, man, I gotta, fall back from this PD stuff, because it's gonna have serious repercussions. So maybe this is the change that needs to happen. So I agree with it on that aspect.
So I don't understand what's the deal about him letting it go, because there's more benefits of him being successful with this lawsuit than it is for him not to stand up and pursue this lawsuit.
That's true, but what if he isn't successful? That's the question. Then what?
Then what's wrong with attempting to go after somebody who violated our contract? Our contract specifically stated that you are not supposed to have performance enhancing drugs in our fight. That's illegal. That's a binding contract. So if you violate that, what am I supposed to do? So I'm just supposed to ignore it, and because of what y'all saying, and in terms of how you view me, that's how I'm supposed to live my life, and based on what others, how they perceive me. No, what's right is what's right. We have a legal system for a reason. I don't care if you're talking about he's a fighter trying to sue. All the stuff you said makes no sense, guy, because all the people you talking about who took losses, that wasn't because PEDs weren't involved. So yeah, they can go ahead and be like, no, that man beat me fair and square, so I want to get my get back. But if you get up in the ring with me on performance-enhancing drugs, that's a whole different story. And on top of that, how in the heck am I supposed to be just cool with that? For one, he got a year ban. He probably wasn't going to fight in a year anyway. So what punishment is that? That's not a punishment. Also, every time I'm looking up, everybody's talking about, oh, he's going to have to take a pay cut now because the way how he looked. Well, if you damage my brand that much, then I want to go ahead and get compensated because I wouldn't be taking no loss as far as my pay because of what you did with the PEDs. So it makes no sense. Again, this is the same thing I'm saying, 1984. How is this even a question? Dude, you violated a contract, man. So yes, I'm gonna go ahead and sue you. Matter of fact, you lucky I'm not doing something else because the stuff that you did wasn't fair. So why am I gonna be fair with you? I'm gonna treat you however it is I need to treat you until I feel good about, what it is that my retribution that I'm getting. So nah, man, get that dude up out of here, man. They need to go ahead and suspend the dude longer than that. Yeah, to me, I disagree. It's the distraction was the dude got up in the ring with the PEDs. That's the distraction, and that's where the focus should be. People should ostracize him. They sitting up here making a mockery out of Devin Haney, but the dude over there, he the one who cheated. He's the one over there sitting up here still saying racist stuff. Last Sunday, he's still calling people monkeys and all of this type of stuff, but he's the one that people have some dang on, like they trying to make excuses for him. I don't get it. Let Devin Haney, let this role reversal. Devin Haney would have been the one who they found out that had PEDs in the system. He was knocking Ryan Garcia all over the ring. Man, he shouldn't have did that. They need to go ahead and ban him. Man, if you don't stop, man, get up out of here with all that type of stuff. Again, that's the frustration. That's the frustration of it. Then you got dudes like this. Look, he labels Devin Haney soft for the lawsuit. Every step of the way, he's pointing the finger at Devin Haney. Nothing at Ryan Garcia. Ryan Garcia called Tank Davis a monkey. Only person, and I love him now. Like he's one of my favorites is Terrence Crawford. He's not having it with them chumps. He's going ahead. He's going after him. He's focusing his attention on the people who are the ones who violated him. Teofimo Lopez with that racist stuff. Man, you're not going to get away with that type of stuff. Now with me, you're not. Come on, man. Devin Haney's image dragged through the mud. That's what I'm saying. So if that's the case, then what is he supposed to do? He's just supposed to be accepting of all of the stuff that's coming his way. Man, please.
I want to add, man, like, and I looked at it since this happened. I looked at it from another perspective. Like, so I drive a truck. So if somebody was on drugs or something, hit somebody, killed somebody, then that's serious repercussions right there. So it's the same thing in the sport of boxing. If somebody's going in there cheating, like I said, Devin Haney could have been seriously hurt or something. Let's just say he went in a coma. Let's say he would end up on a wheelchair. Then he definitely was going to want to take action from that. So I understand it from it. Like at first, I just looked at it like he needed to let it go, but I have a different perspective on it. So, and then Ryan Garcia is still getting punished. And I mean, now I don't know if y'all heard he's now not going to be in a new game that's coming out. So
because he's been saying it wasn't because of the PEDs. He keeps on racist rants. Yeah, that's what he's doing. It ain't because of the PEDs. Yeah, don't have anything to do with it.
Yeah. So, but I looked at it from that aspect. Like, if somebody is driving a truck on drugs or whatever, and they hit and kill somebody, then there's serious repercussions. That the family's going to want to sue. The whole 9 yards. So I understand, man. So I understand what he's doing. Like I said, maybe this is the change that needs to happen. Maybe the PEDs, we won't be hearing about fighters getting busted for PEDs. After this, if Haney wins this lawsuit, he's real successful. So I salute him.
No, you know what they're doing? They sitting up here because people in this day and age, what they do is they try to jump on you, and everybody is such a group think type individuals. And so they'll say, well, I've never seen anything like this. And this got to set a precedent. No, it hasn't set a precedent. You had, let me show you something, brother. This ain't nothing new. Can you see this right here? You had John Ruiz. He sued James Toney. So here, I'm going to read the lawsuit. Ruiz claimed that Toney's use of nandrolone, one of the most powerful performance-enhancing substances available, dramatically enhanced Toney's abilities to fight by artificially augmenting his strength, speed, and power. This happened before. It's nothing new. This is November 2005. Was he wrong? Should he have let it go? He didn't. Nobody
he should not let it go. But of course, he's not going to get criticized because in his time there was no Twitter, there was no. It was internet. No, he wasn't. John Ruiz wasn't a YouTube internet star. Nobody outside of boxing cared who John Ruiz was.
Did anybody tell him to let it go?
Nobody knew about it to tell him to let it go. It wasn't that public. Outside of us boxing fans, this wasn't a big thing,
So how do I know about it? Like, why do I know about the lawsuit that he had back then? I remember the lawsuit. But now, no, because I look at everybody, I look at everything. Like, I'm not just going like this P. Diddy stuff. See, nobody's talking about Vince McMahon and all of these guys, these scumbags. But
they are talking about Vince McMahon. It's a whole Netflix series on Vince McMahon talking about.
It's a whole Netflix.
Vince McMahon got kicked. Look, Vince McMahon got kicked out of his own company. Puppy still got his own company.
Vince McMahon. So.
Yeah, I seen like two.
What about your guy who's over UFC? Dana White.
Dana White, yes.
What about his situation? Slapping his wife.
I don't know what Dana White says. I saw him beating his wife or beating somebody.
So you don't know anything about that. So again, you just
I don't follow Dana White. I follow Vince McMahon more than I follow Dana White.
Okay, but Dana White, he beat his wife, right? So why there's no coverage? Why is there's no outrage? Why is there no he needs to be banned and all? Why is there's nothing there?
It's for different reasons. Because one, it wasn't a bunch of women in Diddy, and in Diddy's case, this is what Diddy is competing against. A lot of people with him has always been salty about the stuff that we even went down with Tupac and Biggie. They're still salty about that. So a lot of that's the effect why it's okay to dislike Diddy. And a lot of people are sheep. Like, I didn't like Diddy. I wasn't a Diddy fan in 97, 98. A lot of people, all these people that was, you're a player hater. I'm a player. Now the same people turn on Diddy right now. See, my position always been the same. I always thought Diddy was weird. Back when Wendy Williams was weird. Wendy Williams used to say stuff about Diddy 20 years ago.
So being weird and being a criminal, is that the same thing?
It can be. That can go into you being a criminal.
That what I just said.
Not
being
exactly
weird.
the same. No, but I knew he was shady.
Talking about?
He was shady. He was shady back then. Everybody know he's shady. It's just a big secret.
When you say shady, Val, what do you mean shady as far as what?
Like the stuff because a lot of things are about image, right? So remember back then, Suge Knight always had this tough guy image. People were always afraid of him, and stuff was happening to people. Puffy did the same stuff. It's just that his image was, I'm the goody two shoes, and everybody loved him because of it. He did similar stuff.
What's criminal that you're talking about? Bro?
Now people forgetting that this whole thing between him and Suge started because his bodyguard killed Suge Knight's guy.
What does that have to do with the lawsuit that's going on against Diddy? You bringing up other stuff.
It's image. It's about image that he's been. He has more reason for people to not like him because now people are starting to blame him for stuff like Tupac's death, and Tupac is a beloved character.
Right. So I'm gonna again quote the great Nellie Fuller, who is one of the greatest philosophers and speakers out against racism, white supremacy. His famous quote is, if you don't understand racism, white supremacy, what it is and how it works, everything else you think you understand will only confuse you. You'll be confused by things that at the end of the day, the root problem is that system. And so we try, and that's the reason why I alluded to the book 1984, because if you don't address that piece of it, then you're going to come up with things that have nothing to do with the reality of what the root of the problem is. It's like me going to the doctor. And if they can't tell me specifically if I have cancer, but you can't talk about the cancer, you got to talk about everything else, then that's just going to, lead to your demise because you're not ever addressing the problem. That's the problem. So with Diddy, with Dana White, with Ryan Garcia, with the Caitlin Clarks and all that type of stuff, that's the root of the issue. But people don't.
If that's the root of the issue, why didn't Diddy go down for that shooting that Shine went down for? Why did Shine take the hit?
I have no idea. In this system, listen, who got shot?
A young lady was shot in the face.
It was a young white lady?
No.
So what difference does it make? Not to me. I think that if you have a justice system, then you have a justice system where you look into things. Me personally, with the thing that's going on with Diddy, I think it's more like political as well. I think that you have other people that they're going after, because if you look at the case, you got all of the New York lawmakers. A lot of them are resigning because they participated over there, and so when they look at what's on the video, it's other people that they want to go after. But Diddy is the key cog in the people that they really want to go after. See, that's not a justice system to me. It's because you're just trying to bring certain figures down. And so that's the carrot that you use in order to be able to pull that off. But that's a whole nother conversation. But anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and welcome my boy Scotty on. Scotty, what's going on, good sir?
Hi, Wilton, and I'm gonna make it real quick in 60 seconds. Just wanted to say this is a great show tonight. I normally don't get these shows live, but I want to give a shout out to the participants and the people that leave the comments in the comment section, because of the time difference, I always watch this on a replay. But for the people that make a contribution, it's very much appreciated. So that's it, basically. Keep listening and keep doing your thing, and shout out to the listeners, brother.
Thank you, Scott. We'll be remiss, man. We can't have you on here, and you got the biggest fight of the year coming up next week. I got to get your take, man. Like, who you got? Who you think's gonna win now?
Well, I don't know why, so I'm not going to break the fight down or anything like that. But I'm super confident that Bivol gets the win here. I just can't see him getting beat. I think he can hold a shot, and he's gonna. Technically, someone mentioned age before, and we'll forget that. But, technically, he's on a different planet to Beterbiev. Okay, different planet, maybe that's a stretch, but he's a fantastic boxer. Maybe one of the best light heavyweights ever. We'll see after this fight, but he can certainly be talked about there with Michael Spinks and Archie Moore, as a Charles. He's right up there.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm really, really keen on Bivol to get the win here, and I did say don't rule out a stoppage. Like Bivol doesn't get many stoppages, but in such a big fight, if Beterbiev gasses, he could get cut, or the fight could get stopped. So that's how confident I am that I wouldn't. I don't bet anyway, but I think when they opened the odds market for this, it was actually 50-50, or at least it was in Australia. And the money came for Bivol. But, if you're going to back Bivol by decision, just to earn an extra 40 cents or whatever, I would just back him straight out because, it's boxing and it's light heavyweight. These guys can really hit. So that's it. That's my take. But thank you guys, and thanks to everyone that contributes to the show. It's really to get other people's point of view as a listener.
Yes,
it's fantastic. Thank you.
Appreciate you, Scotty. Thanks for stopping through.
Yeah, appreciate
Thanks, Wilton. Thank you.
Salute. Scotty 70, ladies and gentlemen. Scotty 70. All right, fellas, we're gonna keep it moving. We got thanks for him coming through. I had a few questions for you. This is the last question of the day, man. And Ty, you talked before. I can't remember if Roy Jones was on your radar as far as a fighter that you were watching when you got interested in the sport of boxing. I know Vail is familiar with Roy in his prime, and I saw something on. I want to say it was Boxing News 24, and they said, had Roy Jones, if he finished at 49-1 with the sole loss to Montel Griffin, would he rank as the greatest ever? What do you think about that, Lavelle Jackson? And then Ty, if you recall, if that's something that you remember Roy in his heyday, then I would like for you to chime in on that as well.
Absolutely. And I say that because even with that one loss of Montel Griffin, that loss is a disqualification because he hit Griffin when Griffin was on his knee. And but in hindsight, it wasn't until after the losses that people kept saying this, even though it was shoot in. If you watch that first fight with Mtownwilhen, Griffin was giving him some trouble and showing you what could give Roy Jones trouble. But Roy was just so gifted that his power and speed can pull him out anytime he felt like it. And when he ended up hurting Griffin, it was like, hey, bailed him out. And I was around. That's my day. That's the time when I really was into boxing like that, where I was immersing myself in it. And I remember what Roy Jones was saying and what other people were saying about Roy Jones. And I remember people saying, I think it was either him or someone else said that. No, it was him that said, only God can go one-on-one with me. Only God can beat me. And nobody argued with that. I remember that. No one argued with that. And even after he beat John Ruiz, there were talks of him fighting Lennox Lewis. He himself said, I just want Tyson and that's it. While people knew that was risky, nobody looked at that fight like, oh, Roy is just going to get crushed. Nobody thought that. That's how highly regarded he was. But because he continued his career, he went down and lost to Tarver. And then after that, lost immediately to Glenn Johnson. Of course, he won a few fights after that and then lost to Joe Calzaghe. Because of those fights, I think it knocked him down and made people forget. And then people start, just like with the Devin Haney thing, people laugh at you when you start losing and laugh at you. Ha, ha, ha. It's so funny. They made all these videos about Roy. But it's still forgotten how good Roy was. And then also you have to factor in the rise of other fighters like Floyd Mayweather Jr., who kind of did what Roy was supposed to do. And it had Roy retire with that 49-1 record, he would have been more highly regarded. He would have been a fighter of the generation, no doubt.
You have any thoughts on that time?
Yeah, like even with the losses that he did take, he fought past his prime. I still consider, Roy one of the greatest to do it. Sometimes fighters just don't know when to hang it up. Maybe they just missed the sport. They can't stop. Maybe they need the money. Who knows? But yeah, even with his loss, I still consider, Roy one of the greatest. Now, I didn't see a lot of his fights that he had like in the 90s. I was more, watched him in like the early 2000s, but I know he beat Hawkins, in the early 90s. He had the win over Vinny Paz. He was always knocking guys. He was a showboat, but he would still catch guys. He would catch guys from a distance and drop him. So yeah, I mean, to me, Roy was one of the greatest. And if he never fought past his prime, he definitely would been one of the greatest. But to me, he's still one of the greatest, even with those losses. Like I said, you go back to Ali, he was the greatest with losses. But I think that everybody just looks at like this Mayweather, set this trend, or you the best if you undefeated, you have no losses. But just because you take a loss, that don't mean you're not like the best. You take Canelo. Canelo's lost twice now, but to me, he's still one of the best of this era. So I believe Roy was one of the greatest, even if he didn't fight past his prime. I mean, if he fought past his prime, yeah, to me, he's one of the greatest, man.
Let me see. He would be top 3 if he hadn't lost to Tarver, and then the all of the losses afterwards, because it just. But if you can, you can't keep him in the top 3 with the loss to Tarver, because if we're going to use the model of what Shelton said earlier, there's no excuses, then you can't have the excuse in a Tarver fight. You know what I mean? Because I still think that he was suffering some of the effects of going up to heavyweight, shedding all that muscle and stuff like that. When he entered into, I think I want to say both of the fights, he just wasn't that same Roy. You know what I mean? He didn't have that same vigor and pizzazz. He still was quick, still was electric, but he just was missing a step, like just a hair, and not having built like the traditional fundamentals as a Hopkins and a Floyd, then that's what led to him, you know, ultimately getting knocked out. So I think if he would have been like top 3, I'm not sure if he'd be number 1. To a lot of people, he would, because he's the most dynamic fighter in his prime. See, it's one thing to go to YouTube and be checking out some of the fights, but it's one thing in some of those eras to witness that live, and everybody's checking out a Roy Jones fight when Mike Tyson was coming through, and you didn't have the luxury at that time, as these dudes do, to be fighting a Lamont Roach, to be bringing this dude down at this weight. You know, you don't have that luxury. Like, them dudes was getting busy. Okay, Roy, you got him, and you got James Toney. Yeah, we both talking noise. Let's get busy. Let's see who the best is. We want to know, because that's in your heart. That's who you are. You know what I mean? Like, you got to know that I'm the best. I can't let this man walk around thinking he's better than me if I know that I can beat him. Even if I don't, I want to see. We got to find out. Like, that was the mentality back then. These dudes can fight probably until they're like 45. You know, with the lack of competition that they're facing. It's more so now what you're looking at is the Harlem Globetrotters of boxing with some of these dudes. They always going in there against the Washington Generals. And it's like, okay, I know that they're going to win, but just what round is he going to knock this dude out in? Only thing missing is the confetti and stuff like that, and the water tricks, and Curly Neal, having the ball spinning on his finger. But everything else is just Harlem Globetrotter, or they'll market somebody like a Berlanga into a Canelo fight, knowing dang on well that was a mismatch of epic proportions, So with that being said, man, I'm gonna go into the last words, but yeah, Roy would, in some people's eyes, would have been number 1 because he was just that dynamic.
Yeah,
any last word?
Yeah, and I'm gonna add to that Bernard Hopkins could have ducked Roy Jones. Roy could have ducked Bernard and said, "Hey, man, this dude's up and coming." Roy could have ducked James Toney, like, this guy's not my weight class. I'm stay at 160. That all these things could have happened, and Roy didn't. And I don't know if you remember, Will, even though we look back at Roy's career, we're like, wow. And if you look at his highlights, you're like, wow. But even then, when he was self-managed, he would get a lot of criticism for certain fights that he wasn't fighting, even with as good as his resume is. But you look at it now, man, it's almost like revisionist history. Like, for example, and I'll make this last example, like Ice-T. You know what I'm saying? Ice-T used to get a lot of flack for being, he was too gangster. And he would get a lot of flack for not being lyrical enough. But if you listen to him, you compare it to people now, that dude is almost like conscious to the T and way more lyrical than anybody. So I think when times pass, and this goes to Scotty's point that he just made, we're gonna look fine. We're gonna look better back at them when we look at their full body of work and what they did.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I was just gonna add, well, you made a good point with him going all the way up to heavyweight. Yeah, I meant to mention that as well. Like, he went all the way up to heavyweight and won. So, like, his accomplishments were great as well. You know what I mean? You got some fighters, like you just talked about, Tank not wanting to go up to 140 to fight Ryo, trying to bring Ryo down. So, yeah, his accomplishments were great too, as far as moving up in weight. So,
yeah, man, it was ultimate competitor, ultimate showman. Shout out to Roy, man, and shout out to Andre Ward, Darrell, Berto. They had Roy on their show this past week. I would like to have heard more from Roy, but they were all sharing stories, with one another about the fight game. And ultimately, the discussion turned towards Gerald McClellan, who suffered a devastating loss to Nigel Benn. And they was giving their perspectives on what they thought was going to happen entering into the fight, and then what fighters need now who, suffer some of the damages that are caused by a brutal sport like boxing. So if you didn't get a chance, check that out. That's a good episode right there. All right, fellas. I think I talked enough today, as far as my words. I'm starting to wind down a little bit. Still got a little bit of coffee left, and I'm going to warm up after we get up off of here. But, I just want to, what's some last words you have for the week, man? Not everybody speak at once,
You want me to start, Bill?
Yeah, I muted myself. So I just want to know what kind of coffee you sipping on, man. I might need that tomorrow or this week.
Well, it's hand buck, sir. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
What I do is I put together some peats, like a K cup. So I put it in my little Keurig. Then I kind of spruce it up with a little bit of caramel macchiato creamer. Then I'll put in a little bit of chocolate creamer in there. Put me a little bit of that Splenda. And then I'll put this other cream in there. I'll warm it up. And I'll be ready to go. I think the main thing today was I got me a mean nap in, you know?
So, all right. Yeah. I ain't got nothing else.
Come on, man. What's you have to have some type of opinion on the state of boxing, sir.
Oh, on the state of boxing in general, I mean, we talked about this, pretty much touched on this the whole episode. A lot of people were just afraid to make big fights, and they want to keep their zero, and they want to maximize by getting the most money, selling that zero, saying I'm an undefeated guy, nobody can beat me, I'm an attraction, and basically they're fighting. And it was called in WWE world enhancement talent, jobbers. They're fighting guys that they know have no chance of winning for the big buck to make them look indestructible, and they're protecting themselves. And that's the state of boxing.
What about you, Legend? What's some of your last words? You know, as far as what you think is going on?
Man, I just want to say, man, salute to you guys, man. Always a great show. Comment section's popping. Salute to all the guys that came on. This Saturday we got the big fight coming up. It's a big fight, great fight, undefeated guys. So I'm looking forward to that. And I would just say I was watching this $1 Million Heist show. I don't know if you guys seen it, but I just started today. I heard it was good so far. It's got my attention. So I'm saying some is based on a true story. So it's got my interest real good. But the guy they got playing as Ali looks nothing like him, man. So
that's what I heard.
Yeah, he looks nothing like him. But yeah, man, that's all I got, man. But like I said, man, great show as always. A salute to everybody that rocked with us today.
Yeah, man. Yeah, we had it rocking for a minute. As we wind down, I just give a few. I said I wasn't, but I still will. You know, you got the fight game. Is it out yet? That's the fight sports game.
I'm not sure.
Because I see some people posting, they're saying, do you have it or will you have it on PS5 or Xbox? And so they was asking those type of questions. So I was assuming that it was either out already or it's about to come out. I won't be investing in purchasing in the game because I'm a little older now. My fingers can't, keep up with all of that, pushing those buttons and stuff like that. You fight a fight or two, next thing you know, you got to sit out a whole 2 weeks with your hand in some ice. You understand what I'm saying? So I'm not going to do that to myself. But also, as far as the state of boxing, we're in, you have ripple effects of things that transpire. You have different eras, and different eras lead to the next era. And people used to follow Ali, because then once you had Ali, who used to take on all the tough challenges, and he was very loquacious. Then you had people like Sugar Ray Leonard, who came. He was kind of like the little Ali. But he still was fighting stiff opposition. Sugar Ray was the one who, to me, that was the first person who I saw strategically chose certain fighters that he wanted to fight, but he always fought tough enough opposition where it wasn't necessarily he was ducking anybody, but he did avoid certain dudes for an extended period of time, or he would try to get some gamesmanship on some guys, like fighting Roberto Duran right afterwards because he knew he was going to blow up in weight. Waiting a long time to fight Tommy Hearns in a rematch that everybody wanted to see. And so he's kind of strategic in that way, but he did fight a lot of, tough opponents. But he positioned himself to be the man because he had already beat Benitez. He had already fought Duran. He already fought Hearns. He fought Hagler. So you couldn't knock him after that. He could do basically what he wanted to do, but he still had the decency to take on some of the toughest opposition. So then you move forward. Oscar De La Hoya was kind of cut from the Sugar Ray Leonard cloth. He was doing the same thing, fighting stiff opposition when he didn't have to. So you had that going on. The things changed under Mayweather but I don't think it's necessarily Mayweather's fault. Mayweather took a lot from those guys, but he did things more with a bow tie on, where it's like I can fight this opposition and I can come out of this looking so clean and being so like I mastered my craft. And so he brought a different level to what it is that the other guys were doing. But then Floyd was in a situation where he had the options to be able to pick and choose a little bit more. And he did that. He exercised that, kind of like LeBron James in basketball, where I have this leverage and I have this power. So I'm exercising that. I have the freedom to do that, where guys were more limited back in the day. So that's what I'm saying. It's not his fault that these guys are soft as I don't know what. It's not his fault that these guys are already jumping the money made before they were Pretty Boy. That's not his fault. Similarly to Biggie Smalls and Tupac. During that era, they were so dominant that people tried to emulate just different pieces. Like everybody wanted to be the thug like Pac. But they didn't take all of the songs like the Dear Mamas and the substance that he brought to the table too. Then some dudes want to take the mafioso persona from Biggie. Or they want to take the 10 Crack Commandments part of Biggie. But Biggie was way more than he's a storyteller. He was lyrical. But they just want to take those pieces. And that's what they did to me when it came to Floyd Mayweather. They just took the money he made. I'm going to be undefeated. I'm going to pick and choose who I want to fight. But no, it was way more to money made than just that, you know. And I think that in society, we get caught up like that, where we're more traditional. When somebody sets a precedent, and everybody tries to follow that precedent, but they don't follow it holistically. So that's my thoughts and take on what it is that I see and what I perceive. Vale, as usual, I'm going to let you close us out today.
All right, man. Thanks. It's a great episode. Salute to all the people who showed up. Scotty 70, Marky Dan, Shelton, Ty, salute. All the folks that's in the chat, man. It's been on fire today. Will, always a shout out to you, man. You don't disappoint, man. He was up today. You kept me on my toes. So everybody, man, join us next week. We're going to be doing it again. So peace from me.
Peace.
Peace.
All right.